guys, Logan here, and welcome back to my Steven Spielberg series. We are nearing the end of my Steven Spielberg series of reviews leading up to Ready Player One, coming out on March 30th. I already covered plenty of films that Steven Spielberg has directed, like Jaws, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, The Adventures of Tintin, and War Horse. And for this review, one of the last couple of reviews that we'll be doing in my Steven Spielberg series is going to be for Lincoln, starring a humongous number of cast members like Daniel Day-Lewis, Sally Field, James Spader, Tommy Lee Jones, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and much, much more. In this movie, Abraham Lincoln, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, gets to spend his last few months as the President of the United States of America to try to get enough votes to pass the 13th Amendment, the right to abolish slavery, because civil war has been going on between both the northern states and the southern states. And while he's on the run to get more votes to pass the 13th Amendment, we also get to see him spend his last few months as the father and husband with his family. Get to spend time with his family while he's spending his last few months as the U.S. president. And that's what this movie is about. It gives you the personal side and the public side of Abraham Lincoln. This movie was absolutely mind-blowing to watch in the best way possible, especially for a film that is filled with nothing more than dialogue. You get a lot of talking scenes in this movie. This is a very talking movie. And the dialogue, for the most part in this entire film, was done very well. It was very compelling. It made the movie actually very compelling to watch. And that is what I thought Steven Spielberg did so well at. He did what he rarely did with most of his films that he did in the past. Made them talking films while also making them very well compelling, because sometimes when some other directors direct movies that are very talkative, sometimes it gets boring, but with this film, it doesn't bore you at all. Unless, of course, you're not a big fan of all the talking movies, because this one is one of those talking movies. Let's talk about Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln. When I see Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie, I don't actually see Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln. I just see Abraham Lincoln. He was like Oscar worthy in this movie, and it's not surprising to see that he won an Oscar for Best Leading Actor for Lincoln, and it is well deserved. Very well. Congrats to Daniel Day-Lewis for that. And everybody did a good job. Sally Field, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, as the son and the wife of Abraham Lincoln, and Tommy Lee Jones. Let's talk about him. To say he was really good in this movie would be a humongous understatement, because if Daniel Day-Lewis was not the only best part in this entire film, Tommy Lee Jones was certainly the second best part in this entire film. There were few scenes, a couple I would pick out, both in the second and third acts of the movie, where he give, and not just insults to those who don't agree with his position, but it gives them an understanding of where he's coming from. You really buy into what he's doing and what he's saying and why he did certain things to help his own party. And what I really respect for what Steven Spielberg has done in this movie is that he didn't actually show the outside world of a civil war between the Union and the Rebs. I think that's who they are back in Civil War, but he didn't show the outside world of Civil War. He shows the inside world of, Civil War between two different types of politicians fighting over passing the 13th Amendment or preventing a pass for the 13th Amendment. Now, I had a couple of nitpicks with this movie, And one of them was the opening scene in one part where Dane DeHaan, yes, Dane DeHaan was in this movie, showed up, and and that scene was made as if younger people who have rewatched this movie and just go like, hey, you recognize that guy, Dane DeHaan? Yeah, he was in this movie. Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, or Valerian, or any other roles he took right before or after he played his role in this film. I think it was done in a way that just makes you want to recognize him and just be like, oh, that's Dane DeHaan, I didn't know that. And just nothing else. And I feel like, I don't know if that was Steven Spielberg's fault for doing that or someone else, I don't know. But that scene was just pretty random. And it kind of stood out to me a lot. My second nitpicking complaint with this movie is that one part at the end of the second act, I would say, of this film, where you get to see Abraham Lincoln and that young black lady entering the White House and just have a pretty short conversation. And I recognize that it's a very minor scene and a pretty quick one, like maybe a 5-minute one, but I would argue that that scene didn't have very much value to it. Like, there wasn't need to have a scene like that in this movie. Like, nothing was really going on in that scene or something interesting about that scene. Just having admiration, I feel like was that part of a scene. I thought that scene was pretty unnecessary to be put in this movie. But that is about all the nitpicking complaints I have with this movie. Other than that, this was yet another masterpiece done by Steven Spielberg, who does an amazing job that I can pretty much see myself watching again if I really wanted to. Because this movie was a masterpiece at its own time, about a real-life story of Abraham Lincoln. And this, I feel like, is the accurate portrayal of Abraham Lincoln, and I really gotta give props to Steven Spielberg, Daniel Day-Lewis, and everybody else who's a part of this movie. I am going to give Lincoln a gold Medal of Honor. This was a near perfect movie to watch, I will say. It's just that there were a couple of scenes that could have been cut out of the movie easily and don't need to be in the film. But like I said, this was a near perfect film to watch, and I highly recommend you watch it if you didn't get a chance, or if you hadn't watched it in a long time, then I recommend you rewatch it. So, anyway guys, that is my review for Lincoln. My next, and also my final review in my Steven Spielberg series is going to be for Bridge of Spies, and it will be up next week from today, so be on the lookout. Check your calendar for that next week from today. So yeah, you get the point. So anyway guys, that is all I will say for now. If you guys enjoyed my review, please click the like button and comment down below to let me know what you think of this movie. If you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please press up there to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight.